49 years. That's how long Voyager 1 has been silently wandering through the cosmos, far beyond the edge of our solar system. It is the most distant human-made object in existence, still sending data from more than 22 billion kilometers away. A lonely relic of the space age, powered by decaying plutonium and hope. But then, something happened. Out of nowhere, Voyager 1 changed course, without receiving any commands. Just days earlier, it had begun sending strange, rhythmic signals, a low-frequency hum with mathematical precision. It wasn't interference. It wasn't noise. It was a pattern. And now, NASA is desperately searching for answers, because whatever Voyager has just found out there, in the cold, vast darkness between the stars, it might not be natural, it might not be random, and it might not be alone. This isn't just another space anomaly. This could be the beginning of something we should never have found. In the early hours of a Tuesday, Dr. Margaret Chen, a veteran of the Voyager program since its inception, was reviewing routine telemetry data when something caught her attention. A new signal, subtle, faint, but unmistakably organized. It was a hum. It pulsed at regular intervals, deep within Voyager's standard transmissions. At first, engineers suspected a technical glitch. After all, the spacecraft was nearly 5 decades old, but further analysis ruled that out. The signal was not random. It followed a rhythm. It repeated sequences of prime numbers. It behaved like information. As the signal repeated, multiple antennas in NASA's Deep Space Network confirmed its presence. Voyager was not just detecting something, it was possibly interacting with something. Something that understood structure, something that responded with silence, but with intelligence. And then came the moment that no one could explain. Voyager fired its thrusters. Mission logs showed that no command had been sent. The attitude control system, on its own, performed a slight orientation maneuver. The spacecraft turned gently, not toward Earth, not toward the Sun, but toward an empty patch of space, a direction with no stars, no galaxies, no known celestial objects. It was as if Voyager had been called. The trajectory adjustment was just a slight change in angle, but it was precise, too precise to be a malfunction. Engineers at JPL ran simulations, ran diagnostics, checked old source code for any contingency that might have caused the turn. Nothing fit, and it wasn't a random burst either. It was fired in a deliberate pattern, controlled, coordinated, clean. Voyager has inactive camera array in 90 a region of space where we hadn't to look. But Voyager did. As that followed, signal became clearer, not louder, but more structured. It began to show recursive mathematical sequences, symmetrical intervals, geometric proportions that could not be explained by cosmic radiation or magnetic anomalies. In fact, some of the sequences mirrored parts of Voyager's own radio link protocol, as if in its language, or responding in it. Of engineers who were now older than the spacecraft itself, gathered in incredulous silence. One of them described it this way: "It's like he had forgotten existed, and Voyager 1 and Explorer had already opened that door." As analysis of the signal intensified, something true was discovered. Hidden within the modulation of the HUD is strikingly similar to parts of the arrow message, the radio signal into space, as a message to possible extraterrestrial civilizations. The structure was not identical, but it was undeniably related. That discovered the scientific community. Some believed that Voyager had through a complex magnetic structure or encountered known plasma formation that was interfering with its electronics. Others, more privately, heard something unnatural, something intentional. Official response, data patterns that required further analysis. Cryptographers, experts, and astrophysicists. Multiple classified meetings were held, and in the halls of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, was Voyager receiving a message, or was it being? Weeks passed. Steadfast in its new orientation, the hum continued. More complex patterns emerged, more of structured thought, and yet NASA remained silent. But the real change didn't happen in space. It happened at independent observatories, amateur astronomers, and private research groups. Electromagnetic in that nothing dramatic, just enough to know that something was there, something before, and then Voyager's plasma wave instrument, sharp drop in the density of electrons, followed by cosmic ray activity. It was a briefly disturbed the fabric of the interstellar medium around it, and then, suddenly, the hum stopped. The silence was deafening. Your systems remained stable. Its trajectory did not change, but the feeling among them undeniable. It had seen something. And what happens next, no one can predict. News of the Voyager and to fill it quickly speculation around the world. Spectrograms of the signal were analyzed by amateur cryptographers, enthusiasts, to replicate the pulse using radio telescopes to detect subtle reflections, not from space, magnetic field, and returned, changed. Podcasts and late-night shows exploded in question. What had Voyager 1 found? Some believed it was a passive, others feared it was a warning, a kind of cosmic tripwire left by an advanced intelligence to alert when someone like us too close. But the most chilling thing wasn't that it was how the official response became. NASA delayed press conferences. Deep Space Network refused to comment further, giving interviews almost overnight. The sense of wonder, because when silence follows contact, fear is not peace, it's judgment day. As independent analysis continued, a controversial idea to gain traction. At first, it was just science fiction, but the theory was simple. Voyager didn't just detect something out there, it activated it. Was one of the first to go public. A live broadcast, he explained, based on the harmonic structure of the signal and the symmetrical adjustments of gravity field, a kind of detection network, possibly older than, according to her model. Voyager's long-range radio signal may have awakened or activated a latent surveillance mechanism, a galactic network into interstellar space, not designed to trap, but to observe. And when we crossed, the system responded. That would explain the hum, the echo. In words, we didn't find life, perhaps to something that already had us in mind. And then came the final twist. Astrobiologist Dr. Sergio Alvarez, working independently in Argentina, published a preliminary article that Voyager 1 might not be, not anymore. His research focused on the measurable and sudden of the flow of interstellar particles around the probe's location. It was subtle, but statistically significant. Something, he had come into close proximity with Voyager, something small and silent, shadow object. According to his theory, Voyager 1 may have activated a passive artifact, not a spacecraft, not a beacon, but a kind of relic, a remnant of a civilization gone, designed to observe, adapt, and respond. And now, something could be traveling with Voyager. No transmissions, just movement, just presence. The data is incomplete, the answers are uncertain, but the implications are enormous. If this is true, it means that Voyager 1 has not only reached the edge of the solar system, but may have reached the edge of a hair of intelligence, of space. Voyager went questions of humanity into the darkness. We saw it as a messenger, a silent explorer, a symbol of everything bright about our species. But we're wrong. What if Voyager was known out there? What if space isn't empty, but filled with sleepless systems and intelligences? What if all this time the silence was intentional? Now, after nearly 5 decades of drifting through the unknown, Voyager 1 have something vast, ancient, and incredibly, and the response was not a greeting. It was a pulse, a turn, a whisper we were never meant to hear, because maybe we weren't meant to discover them. Maybe they were waiting to discover us. And now that moment has passed. The message has been received, and the universe is watching. What do you think Voyager 1 found? A structure, a machine, a presence, or something completely different? Leave us your theory in the comments. Subscribe for more revelations that science still can't explain.